everyone, in this video we are going to determine the area of trapezoids. In this picture that we have here, this is an example of a trapezoid. In a trapezoid there are two bases, so I name this as base 1 or B sub 1, and the other one across would be base 2 or B sub 2. And then there is a height that is the distance between these two bases, and please remember that this height should always be perpendicular to the base. Perpendicular means we would know that it is perpendicular. If there is a small square, it indicates that it's 90. Again, the height and the base need to be perpendicular to each other. And so we have here this equation to find for the area of a trapezoid. That is half of the, we add all the two bases together and multiply it by the height. Or we can go ahead and, if you don't want the 1/2 in front of all these parts right here, we can divide it by 2. They're just pretty much the same thing. So let's take this first example right here. So we are given the height here. By the way, this trapezoid that we have here can get turned around. They can get flipped around, but then the base and the height will always be base and height. It doesn't matter if they're getting flipped or if they have been turned around. It doesn't really matter. Okay, so in this problem that we have here, these two are the bases of this, the two bases for this trapezoid. So then we can go ahead and write the values or put the values into this equation right here. So area is equal to, first we write the 1/2. So I put 1/2 here times the first base. You can take any of these, it doesn't matter. So let's take 14 centimeters plus the other base. Base 2 is 10 centimeters times our height. Again, the height and the base should be perpendicular, and we know it is because there is a small square over there. So I can go ahead and write 7 centimeters. And then from here, I'm going to simplify the ones inside the parentheses first. So that would be 1/2 of 14 centimeters plus 10 centimeters is 24 centimeters. And then multiply that by 7 centimeters. And so multiply these two together, 24 centimeters times 7 centimeters. So that is half of 168 centimeters squared. And then you can multiply this by 0.5 or you can divide it by 2, just like what is done over here. So if you take half of it, 168, 0.5, or divide it by 2, that would be 84 centimeters squared is the area for this trapezoid. So I put that in a box, and that's the area for this picture right here, trapezoid. At this time, I would encourage you to pause this video and try this problem out on your own. We solved for x, and if you're done, unpause it and check your answer. Okay, so we go over the problem here. So this problem we have here is pretty much like doing it backwards. I give you the area, but this time around we're missing some of those other variables or some other parts of the trapezoid. So in this problem that we have here, let me put the equation for the area that we have derived from the first example. So we're going to use this. I'll put that up there. So then we are going to plug in the values that we have here into the equation. So again, our area is 24 miles squared. So I'm going to write 24 miles squared. That's the area, is equal to 1/2 of the first base is 7 and the other base is 5. So I go ahead and write 5 miles. It doesn't matter which one you write first. So that's 5 miles plus 7 miles multiplied by the height is x. I'm going to write x here. So then from here, we remember that if we want to get rid of the let's do the ones in parentheses first. So we're gonna be able to come up 24 miles squared equals 1/2 of, that's 12 miles x, because you have a 5 plus 7 is 12, and then the miles will be the unit for both of them. In order to get rid of the 1/2, we are going to multiply both sides by 2. Multiplying both sides by 2 would enable us to cross this 2 and 2 out. So we're left with just this parts right here. So that would be 2 times 24 is 48 miles squared is equal to 12. 1 times 12 is just 12 miles. And then we got an x after that. So we are supposed to solve for x. That's the one that we're looking for. So we divide both sides by 12 miles. And then divide this by 12 miles. So then we are left with x on the right side. So x therefore is equal to 48 miles divided by 12. No, please remember that this one has 2 miles. Miles squared means there are 2 miles, miles and miles. So we take one of the 2 miles and then take the miles at the bottom. So we're left with just miles. So from here, 48 divided by 12 is 4. So I'm going to go ahead and write 4 miles. And that is the height for this trapezoid. Did you get 4 miles as your answer for the first one? Good. Perfect. Now let's move on to the second one right here. So again, we set this, we set up these numbers by putting it into this equation that we have there. So 231. So 231 inches squared. That's the area is equal to 1/2 of the first base is 20 because you're going to have base plus base. So that's 20 inches here plus the other base is x, and then the height is 14 inches. So then we can go ahead and get rid of the 1/2 by multiplying both sides by 2. So I multiply one side by 2. I do it on the other side to make them even. So then I can go ahead and cross the 2 out. So I am left with, so we multiply these 2 first. So 2 times 231 inches squared is 462 inches squared is equal to, then we are left with 20 inch plus x times 4, that's 14 inch. So then we are going to distribute the 14 inch to both terms inside the parentheses. So 14 will be distributed to the x, it will be distributed to the 20. So then from here we can come up with, again, that's 462 inch squared is equal to, we multiply 14 inches times 20 inches would be 280 inches squared because you have 2 inches. So 280 inches squared plus 14 inch times x is just 14 inch times x. So then we want the x, so we are going to subtract both sides by 280 inch squared minus 280 inch squared. So then we are left with, so we can cross the 280 and 280 inch squared out. So we're left with 14 inches times x. Then we subtract these two together. That's 462 minus 280 would be 182 inch squared. So then from here, we are dividing both sides by 14 inches. So 14 inches, divide this by 14 inches. So then 14 and 14 is going to get crossed out. So we're left with x on this side. On the right side is just x now. Remember, inch squared means there are 2 inches. So we take one of those 2. We're left with 1. And then the inch at the bottom. So 182 divided by 14 is 13. So this is going to be 13 inches. So we're left with inches already. So this is the height for this trapezoid. Did you get 13 as your answer for the second problem? Good. Perfect. If you found this video helpful, hit like and subscribe for more math videos. See ya!